My question is for the Premier. School starts today for many students in Beaches East York. Parents and teachers have been reaching out to me over social media, email, the phone, every way they possibly can. They're anxious, stressed, panicking. One mom wrote, "I'm a mother, terrified for her kids. I haven't slept properly in months." A teacher shared that in her school, every grade has kids over the cap. The kindergarten classes are set to have 30 students in them. In yet another school, the grade 7 class has 27 kids. In yet another, it is 34, bigger than before the pandemic. Teachers have shown me pictures of the desks in their classes. There's barely room for an adult to walk between them. Parents know that sick kids and other health experts insist that physical distancing is impossible with more than 12 or 15 students. The Premier doesn't appear to be listening to health experts or parents. Who is he listening to? And why isn't the government ensuring that all classes, without exception, are capped at 15?
Minister of Education.
Well, Speaker, we have full confidence in the Chief Medical Officer of Health of this province, who has given his endorsement for our plan. And, Speaker, the reason why he has done so is because we have followed the advice of the medical community, including its sick kids, who's called for layers of prevention, multiple actions to prevent the spread. That is precisely what we've done in our plan. We've introduced an expansion of hiring of custodians, over 1,300, to make sure that our schools are constantly cleaned on a more active and regular basis. We've improved air ventilation in our oldest schools, $1.4 billion annually allocated, an additional $50 million for air HVAC systems. We've ensured cohorting and the staggering of class. We've ensured buses and schools start at different times, mitigating the spread of those cohorts. We have the smallest direct and indirect number of students that could interact amongst the major provinces. BC is at 120 and Ontario is actually at 100. Speaker, we put $1.3 billion of investment in all schools. In all school boards, we're seeing classrooms come down. I know there's more work to do that our boards are undertaking in real time. Once those numbers are known, we have faith in our boards, we have faith in our students, Speaker.
Supplementary question.
Thank you, Speaker. One mom wrote to me that she recently learned that her son's grade 8 class will have 29 students and could have more by the time classes resume. This is totally unacceptable. That's her quote. She would love the Premier to spend a week in her child's poorly ventilated classroom where kids will be unable to socially distance by even 1 meter. Parents know that the government's funding formula forces schools to collapse classes as kids leave for remote learning, which means that packed classrooms sit right next to empty ones. One mom is apoplectic that her kid's grade 7 class is 25% bigger than it was before the pandemic. As one mother said, "I cannot tell you how stressful and traumatizing this is for families." Speaker, why hasn't the Premier fixed the funding formula that keeps classes dangerously high when health professionals are saying they need to be capped at 15?
Minister of Education.
Mr. Speaker, we have allocated over $1.3 billion in net new one-time investment to respond to COVID-19 to maintain our schools in Toronto District School Board, in communities where the member represents, in communities that have a higher risk of transmission, working with the local public health officer, including local public health, the Chief Medical Officer, as well as the COVID-19 command table, identifying, Speaker, those higher risk communities. There are absolute caps imposed, including 15 from kindergarten to grade 3, 20 from grade 4 to 8, and as the member opposite knows, in high school, it is capped at 15 students in all designated boards, in Peel, in York, in Durham, and likewise in Toronto. We have done everything we can to mitigate the spread in their schools, but we recognize, as the Minister of Health has said, we have to reduce community transmission risk in order to protect our schools. We recognize the relationship between the two, which is why we're calling on all parents, all families, all citizens to continue to do their part to help us flatten the curve in this province, Speaker.